When we were young, we would always complain about this and that. We'd always want to not do something and we would complain about it. And we mostly want to complain about something because it's hard and we don't feel like doing it. Or when something hard is happening or a certain difficulty is arising with that certain task that we have to do, we start to complain. But once we get older, that is when we start to complain less. But what I've seen in my life is that the people who have gone through less things complain a lot more. Now, if you have gone through a lot of hardships, you lost a lot of things, lost somebody, you have so much stuff on your schedule, especially during college, and that was a big hardship because you had to sacrifice your sleep. Those type of people who had big hardships like that don't complain a lot. And the reason why is that because with this hardship, they don't want someone else to go through the same thing because it was difficult. And when we come out of this hardship, we start to have some sort of gratitude. So even before I went into college, I had some hardships. I had a breakup. I wanted to train as hard as I can to get faster. And when I entered into college, that was probably the most stressful experience I've been in my life. I had many responsibilities. I was getting worse grades than I ever wanted to have. I started to get more injuries because I was sleeping less. I wasn't really taking care of my body because all of these responsibilities like school, part-time work, YouTube, all these homeworks and projects and athletics that are taking up my schedule, that took up all of my time and I couldn't perform as well as I wanted to in the sport. And like I said, this was the hardest time that I've ever been in. And when I came out of it recently, I've noticed that things are easier, things are better. And that's because I have something to compare to. So before this hardship, I would complain a lot. I would complain, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? I don't want to put the dishes away. I don't want to work out because it's hard. I'd rather just sit in my bed, watch some Netflix or play some video games. But now, after going through that hardship, I don't complain at least as much as I used to. I don't complain about other people who are complaining about certain things, but I've understood that I'm more gracious. I have more gratitude to the things that I have with me, in front of me. I'm grateful that I have more time on my hands that I can work on things that I want to do. I'm gracious that I have more time to sleep and recover my body because my body deserves more rest or deserves more recovery after all of the injuries that I've been through. So when I went through more hardships, I started to complain less. And even now, I feel like there is no reason for me to complain about anything that's in my life. I always remind myself when I'm in a hard time or I have a hard time at work because it's stressful is that I've been in worse conditions and I know that it will get better and it will make me stronger. Now, if you're someone who hasn't been through hardships and you know that you're complaining a lot and it's not getting you anywhere, then I suggest you to sit down and think about what can you do to make your life stressful. Now, this sounds counterintuitive because a lot of people on social media, they prioritize work-life balance, where you have balance between work, life, and socialization. But if you've never been through something hard and you keep complaining about it, people would not like that. And honestly, if you're around somebody who complains about every single thing 24/7, you wouldn't want to be around that person. So let me give you an example in my life. Before I went through a certain hard period in my senior year of high school, like I said, I was eating a bunch of junk food. I was addicted to dopamine and I needed to change. And that catalyst that made me want to change was a heartbreak. I was heartbroken and I didn't know what to do with my life. So I started to go into self-improvement. And that was when I intentionally added more stress into my life. I started to work out earlier. Even when it was getting colder, I put on more gear and I just went on the track and did my workouts. I would study track and field, sprinting especially, down to the T. I'd always look at people's different forms. I'd look at certain cues that I needed to do, and I would try to emulate it on the track. Even the days I didn't get enough sleep, I still went to go work out. And of course, I would do the double days, so I would either work out in the morning and then I go lift right after, or I work out in the morning and then after my classes, I go to the gym. And with me trying to rewire my dopamine system because I knew it was just completely destroyed, I decided to do deep work sessions. So whenever I get home from practice, I would throw my phone into my upstairs bedroom, and then I would just get to work. I didn't care if I had to handwrite all my notes or write down all my answers with my pen or my pencil instead of typing it on a computer, but I didn't. I didn't get distracted with my phone, and I just did focused work until I gave myself at least an hour of time to relax. Now during this time, this was also when I decided to keep my phone outside of my room. Before I go to sleep, I put it downstairs where I don't have any access to it before I sleep, because I know a lot of people, like back then in 2020, 2021, that we had no control over our urge to pick up our phone when we wake up or even before we sleep. And this period was hard because I had to deal with managing my feelings from this heartbreak. I had to deal with this physical exhaustion, academic toll on my brain, but also I had to control my impulses, my urges, picking up my phone, from getting that instant gratification, that dopamine that we all want to have. So if you're trying to not complain anymore, go into self-improvement and find what you want to improve on. That can be a physical thing. You can go to the gym in the morning, or right after work, or right after class. Start to have a better diet and to control your impulses of wanting to get that sugary donuts or that sugary food into your system. You have to realize that people complain about things in order to feel like they belong with other people. People who have not been through a lot of things tend to stick together, and they like to have a complaining party. They like to compare about all the hardships that they may have and complain about what they have currently. For instance, if you're in school and people complain about all the homework that they have, they're like, oh man, I have this assignment. Yeah, me too, I have this assignment. It's hard, man. Oh, I don't have any time in my day anymore. It's taking a bunch of toll on me. Yeah, me too, me too. You know, this becomes a pity party, honestly. And if you're trying to level up with your life, you don't want to be around those type of people. But you also have to realize that some people don't want to go through hardships and they just want to complain. And they might not know that sometimes they need gratitude. They need to practice it. They need to be thankful about the things that they have. You know, a lot of people around the world don't have access to water, electricity, or at least constant supply of electricity, or even a shelter above their heads. And that's why I'm making this video, where I've seen a lot of people complain about certain things that's going on in their lives, or certain things that they don't even have any control over. It takes me off, and they need to realize and put themselves in this current moment, and to be, one, express gratitude, but two, if you really want to understand the struggles and the hardships of your life in general, start to implement stress into your life. Have big hardships, big hurdles that you have to conquer, to then help you realize that you're lucky to be here. You're lucky to be in this present moment, have a life, and experience the experiences that you want. So if you ever experience somebody complaining to you and it ticks you off like it does to me, realize that they never have been through hardships before, and that's okay. Just don't invest all of your energy into it, because complaining will suck up your energy. Alright, bro, be gracious. Try to have some hardships in your life to conquer, to make you stronger and a better person in the long run. I know this is a different type of video where I don't really edit as much, and I try to freestyle it as much as I can, but I appreciate you for watching. And guess what? YouTube recommends you this video next. Love you, bro. Alright? Remember to go improve it.